Ever since we split nation and religion, the countries of the Middle East have had to face terrorism.
We must stop following the governmental and economic models of other countries, and we must start looking into our own affairs, document and collect data to come up with an effective development plan that is straightforward, sincere, and good for the people. Building million-dollar hotel and business complexes to attract wealthy businessmen is a successful economic model in the United Arab Emirates, but it is not the best plan for Egypt. As an Egyptian, I do not get why we borrow money to build luxury buildings to fund our national development projects when the money we borrow can be directly invested in what we need the most. Must I remind you what that is? We need the money pumping into education, and education, and education. Because how can a nation live in wealth when its people work minor jobs to survive instead of working to improve their material well-being? We must start seeing jobs not as means to make ends meet, but as personal projects to add capital value to our lives. And it all starts with receiving information on how to operate in this modern world, or in other words, education. And I'm not talking about adopting a schooling system from Finland. I'm talking about developing an education system that is concise to build skilled individuals of all ages, fit for jobs that are in demand on a national and international scope. Another failed important concept is the division of affairs of the state and religion. This may work in Europe and America, but not here. In several countries, this has only led to the loss of identification with the nation. The people don't see themselves represented. It has led to distrust in our representatives, and it has led to split souls. It has led to individuals discriminating against other religions in an effort to find their own. The result of separating nation and religion has broken people on several levels, starting in the heart and ending with the government. Splitting nation and religion has created terrorism as we know it now. Extremely radical believers seeking to find a home, looking for representation and guidance which official entities fail to supply. I found a book at home called An Arab Philosophy of History about Ibn Khaldun's Prolegomena, Al-Muqaddimah, on social sciences, translated by Charles Assawi. Already the first few pages suggested religion to be the strongest facet to provide social solidarity. Social solidarity or Asabiyya lies in the heart of Ibn Khaldun's general and political sociology, as Assawi highlights. Religion, as means to social solidarity, replaces primitive tribal solidarity and unites people from different backgrounds, namely from Central Asia to Spain, under one roof. Now you understand that splitting nation and religion has born terrorism in the Middle East. Now you understand that successful development models are never as effective when they are blindly copy and pasted from one country to another. Now we can design an authentic development model that helps the unique people of each nation. The development of its people. The development of its people should rightfully and logically be each government's highest priority, because even granting equal rights to vote and obtain high positions won't lead to democracy when the people are hungry, poor, and mal-educated. Such policies for democracy which certain politicians are forcing upon communities just create foul gaps in the national political system and more space for manipulation, seeing as the people are dependent on outside help to live and make ends meet. We need a deliberate social development plan that is set for relief, inclusion, safety, and freedom. A plan that ensures chances in life and opportunities to succeed, namely, a plan for social solidarity. It's not so hard, a 17-year-old could do it. But before the government can achieve that, we as the people have the responsibility to not just tolerate but respect other cultures. We must inquire as to what integration is. Is it the coexistence of two or more cultures, or is it the overlapping of two or more cultures? Does integration lead to assimilation, that one culture overpowers the others and dominates the community? I do not fathom these questions, as they are again relative to the different phases of a society, varying from country to country and from group to group. Yet I do address these puzzles as you and I and all people around the world are not only affected by, but also shaping and defining integration. Writing and speaking this, I just want to share with you how I differ between the terms integration and assimilation, and why they are never the same thing, and how you can integrate people. As shown in this visual, as long as the two short lines symbolizing the two cultures are on the same level, intersecting or not, then you can call it integration. Once one culture overpowers, it is assimilation. That dominating culture, lifted to top the other products of humankind through fate or careful planning, or the will of the people, or a powerful man's abuse of his power, is not necessarily better than the others. I think that's pretty clear. No culture is better than the other. What is also pretty clear is that integration has to be pursued by both, if not all parties. It's not just the government's responsibility to try and integrate the migrants. It's first and foremost the migrants who have to try and find a place for themselves. Then it's the neighbors who should do some effort. But the neighbors would naturally want to get close to the newcomers if the newcomers showed basic genuineness and a smile. Do not underestimate the power of friendliness. Being friendly does more than open the door, it lets others in. It creates a rather cordial and convenient atmosphere to share one culture, and thus a chance to defy and redefine the stereotypes and associations about their culture that may feel like barriers to either side. However, different cultures don't always get along. With culture come values and norms, virtues and vices that point out foreign behavior and thus strike attention. Let me give you two simple examples: head coverage and homosexuality. While one may be culturally accepted, the other is frowned upon. How can we then reach common ground? A common ground where different cultures don't just coexist or inaudibly overlap or throw the other off by force. A common ground where different cultures are not just tolerated but respected. For respect is the highest yet humblest basis of any relationship. Tolerance, although highly regarded and with a mass of enthusiasts worldwide, has this air of only letting the other subsist out of mercy, out of being in a higher elite position and only tolerating out of goodwill. And that is the problem. Not all who are in a higher position have goodwill and tolerance for the less fortunate, the minorities, the underdogs. They feel better, more worthy, rightfully so. For respect is the highest yet humblest basis of any relationship. Respect is based on equality, on acknowledgement. Where tolerance fails to bridge a relationship, respect fortifies the ties and connects one with the other. But respect has to come from all parties, can never be one-sided. To ensure respect, find or frame a common ground which will be respected by all parties. That can, for example, be the national constitution or the school rules or the community guidelines. It can also be the Bible or the Quran. It can be anything as long as it is clear and straightforward, acknowledged, binding and referenceable and accessible for all parties. By finding this common ground that all sides respect, you can start dealing with the person or the people in front of you. You can start talking, but never before that. For example, going up to an atheist and talking to them based on the teachings of your religion doesn't really make sense, does it? Or going up to a new migrant and dictating them the laws of your country doesn't make sense either, doesn't it? In the first case, you'd have to find the worldly common ground, and in the second, you'd rather teach them about the neighborhood guidelines first. Something both parties find clear, something both parties acknowledge, something binding for both parties, and something referenceable and accessible for both parties. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this sparked some kind of bombs and fireworks in your head. Here's a structure I should have maybe put at the beginning of the video. Anyhow, thank you for making it this far. I hope to see you guys next time. Kisses and hugs.